we saw something that was out of the ordinary, so we just want to make sure everything's okay.
Is that an animal?
Sounds big.
I created her, and I tried to destroy her. All of you doomed.
Somebody call a plumber?
Hi, I'm Alise Chaffins, and I'm here today with Vivieno Caldinelli, excuse me, and Brandon Cohen, the director and writer of the new movie Scared Shitless, that is available now on video on demand. Thank you both so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So I'd love to know kind of what gave you the idea for this movie, because it's quite an entertaining watch.
Oh, thank you. I'll take the lead with that. So yeah, it all really comes down to I used to work in construction, and when I was working in construction, I was kind of fearful to use the porta potty. There were animals every now and again that would come onto site, and I was always scared that something would get into the porta potty, and then when I go and use it, something would come up and bite me. So that was really the genesis of the idea. And my producing partner, Lewis, was at film school at the time. This is many, many years ago. Yeah, that was the original idea for the film. And, like 15 years later, here we are, and we finally made it.
For sure. Yeah, and Vivieno, what about this script kind of drew you to it, and what made you want to pursue this project?
I think it was the entire package, from the script to the people involved, tonally, it's right up my alley. And yeah, it really wasn't a hard call, after reading the script and then meeting the guys, that was pretty much it. It was a very, very very simple decision, so to speak.
Yeah, that's totally fair. One of the things about this movie is that so much of it is shot in bathrooms. And of course, sets are a little different, but can you just talk about filming in these tight spaces and kind of working with that?
Yeah, it is confining, even though they were all the bathrooms were sets in different forms with flyable walls and stuff, just essentially standing bathroom sets. We had a couple that were raised,
Mm.
about 5 to 6 feet up in the air, like the floor, so you can get under through the toilet with the puppets and stuff. So there's all different aspects, and you're just shooting different sets, different pieces for different things, and it all kind of comes together at the end. But it was definitely a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, and yeah, it's always when you're doing stuff like that, it doesn't matter how much you plan it out, you're always kind of nervous. It's like, oh, is it all going to cut together? But absolutely it did. It really worked out. It was a fun problem to solve.
Yeah, I no doubt. So for as funny and gory and bizarre as this movie is, it has this really heartfelt story that kind of goes through it. Can you just talk about writing that relationship between the father and son in this?
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to my construction days, there were a lot of father and son crews on the site, and I always paid attention to these guys and their relationships, and I always found it very endearing. And yeah, that's what we wanted to center the movie around. And at its core, it's a movie about this boy getting over his fear, his phobia, and it just so happens that it's his first day on the job, and it's the worst possible thing that could happen. But his father is there to guide him, and yeah, it was very important for me to try to have that captured, the father son relationship.
Yeah, definitely. And can you talk just about yeah, directing those two and any kind of ways that you helped them kind of develop that relationship through the filming?
Sorry, what was that? I just sorry,
Oh no.
It's hard sometimes. My ADHD, I just kind of
No,
like always like kind of thing. It's funny. Anyways, go ahead. So, sorry, could you repeat
yeah,
that question?
yeah. Can you just talk a little bit about like what it is to direct the two of them, to direct Daniel and Stephen as they're kind of like forming this relationship and any kind of ways that you help them through that?
Well, I think there was a kind of a natural just the fact that Steven's just this vet and Steven's a vet and Danny is just like this young up and comer, right? A little bit more than that, but nonetheless, just with the kind of experience gap, there already is that kind of inherent tension between the two. And, you know, like I've always said, they both also brought a little bit of themselves into those roles.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of that dynamic between them was quite genuine in their deliveries and just in their back and forths and the conflict and whatnot. And you got two guys, one's a lot older, one's younger, and who genuinely love and respect each other, but they're kind of at odds. And it was really cool to see them kind of face off and as actors and as characters. And so that kind of duality really kind of played into it.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the design of the monster and making decisions about what it was going to look like and maybe what you had envisioned originally and what it ended up with?
Well, the monster was already there was a version of the monster in an earlier short that was a proof of concept that Brandon and Lewis had shot some years prior. And then just working with Steve, we all just kind of put our 2 cents in, and it was definitely a collaborative process. But ultimately, Steve really put his stamp on it too, and yeah, and it essentially became the star of our show. But it's just all crafted with just different situations, different set pieces, different kills. What do we want to see? What would be cool? And that's it. You just kind of pile it all on and you work with what you got and you make something really cool.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that kind of struck me is that one of our first kills is this couple and it kind of turns kind of the, sexy blonde first initial death kind of on its head in the like slasher kind of thing. I know this is more creature feature, but even so, it kind of, you kind of have who you expect. Can you just talk about writing that couple and like that? I just thought that was such a fun twist on what you expect, I guess.
Yeah, with all these characters, we have this building, and then there's people that live in this building, and you kind of wanted to create like loops. They have to have the beginning, middle, and end, and everybody that we introduced into the film, we wanted to close the loop and kill in the movie. Um, so it was kind of functionality. We meet this old couple. There's an interaction at the elevator, if you remember that. There's a funny
Yeah.
scene there, and then you know we kind of just. I don't want to give out any spoilers about
Right,
this
right.
couple, but yeah, they are not who you think they are, and yeah, we just thought that was funny, and just wanted to add a little spice to the characters, and that was a fun way of doing it and incorporating the creature and closing the loop. So yeah, it worked out very well.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are just so many. Yeah, I think all of the kills in this are really fun
Thank you.
and original and yeah, I quite enjoyed them. Um yeah, I guess one of the questions that I know a lot of people will ask, what do you want audiences to take away? But I guess that's kind of an individual thing. So I guess one of the things that I always want to ask is, uh, as we do a project, what do you kind of take away from having done this and completed this? What was kind of what changed about you, or, did you experience as you were working through this? And yeah, for both of you here.
Um, yeah, every production is like a huge like accomplishment, and it's unlike anything you can I can't really compare it to really much anything that something that gives you so much experience, so much knowledge, so much lessons from it. Um, Personally and professionally, it's really kind of hard to kind of articulate exactly what you've learned specifically. Like if I thought about it for a while, I'm sure I can come up with a lot, but it's just there's just so much growth that happens to you during that time span and what's thrown at you and what you need to overcome. And, it's just, you just come out. It's almost like traveling the world every time you make a movie and you come back with all this experience. And it's just accumulative with every film you make.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it's there's similarities between Sonny and facing his fear. And for me, this was my first film, so there was fear in that, and it was a big undertaking, and it was an amazing experience working with Viv and our producer Lewis, and yeah, it was me kind of facing the fear of making the first feature, so it was great.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I appreciate both of you so much for taking time to speak with me today. Congratulations on the film. It's just super fun. And yeah, I hope it finds its audience.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.